Hi, my name is Clara. I have always dreamed of just having a family, to be loved by a mom and a dad I can rely on. I wasn't asking for much, but my life, unfortunately, has not worked out well from the very beginning. I ended up in an orphanage when I was 5. I don't remember my parents, only the constant fear and loud voices. I remember when an orphanage employee hugged me and spoke to me affectionately. I got scared and burst into tears. I was so accustomed to the poor treatment by my parents that I didn't know how to react to care. When I went through rehabilitation, they found a new family for me. My parents really wanted a daughter, but they only had boys. They decided to adopt me. They were so kind to me. They said that I would be the most loved girl in the world. I believed them. I shouldn't have, but did I really have a choice then? At first, everything was perfect. My name was changed because a little princess should have a special one, right? I was named after my grandmother, whom I never got a chance to meet. I was interested in helping my new mom. She had so many chores. She taught me how to cook and clean. As for my new brothers, they avoided talking to me. They were very jealous of my mother and me because I got all the attention. And then, everything changed dramatically. One day, something happened with my mom. She spilled dinner on the floor, and she and Daddy had a really bad fight. I was just playing under the kitchen table, and I heard everything. In the morning, she said that she was tired and couldn't do it anymore. She left home with a suitcase, and I never saw her again. It was the beginning of my nightmare. The brothers decided that it was my fault, and my father agreed with them. After all, before I showed up in their house, everything had been fine. They did not want to admit that she was just tired of being their servant. I didn't think that I was going to have to take her place. First, I had to wash the dishes, then clean the house, and before long, all of the chores fell on my shoulders. If I wasn't able to do something, I had to ask my brothers for help, and it was terrible. They were so angry because I was keeping them from doing their own things. One time, I spilled milk on my older brother Dylan's jacket. He had rage in his eyes. I was so scared. But then, Ronnie stood up for me. I didn't think that he was capable of such a thing. The brothers were always messing with him, and he never would get them back. I couldn't help him with anything, and it was heartbreaking. But then I realized that I was not alone. We became friends. Our family was like a school class. There was the tough guy, a couple of bullies, a nerd, an outcast, and me. For a long time, I went unnoticed, and I actually liked it. When they would forget about me, my life was tolerable. The important thing was to keep my father happy and get the housework done on time. As I started to grow up, it became difficult for me to stay invisible. When one of my brothers noticed that I had started to develop feminine qualities, I didn't understand what he was getting at. But then, their dirty jokes began to scare me. We weren't related, so what else could they be thinking? Once, I took a shower before bed. I was going to go to my bedroom, but there was no towel. My clothes were gone too. I heard laughter from behind the door. Aiden and Brandon had stolen them. I had to hide behind the curtain. If they could get in there, then that meant the lock was broken. I was completely defenseless. I heard them talking amongst themselves. If I didn't go out, then they would come in. But suddenly, I heard a car driving up to the house. It was our father. For the first time in my life, I was so glad to see him. My brothers immediately ran away to complain that I was hogging the bathroom. I heard heavy footsteps. Father Drew opened the door, tossed me his dirty robe, and told me to get out. He had had a hard day and wanted to take a bath. Up until that point, I had lived with my younger brothers in the same room. I realized that I no longer felt safe and asked Ronnie to help me. We moved my bed to the storage closet. It was the only room in the house that could be locked with a padlock. That wasn't the last time something like that happened. My brothers were constantly touching me, as if by accident. They would hint at gross things, and my father didn't care. He told me that it was my fault, that I was provoking them. I began to hate being a girl. I grabbed the scissors. I cut my hair. I just wanted to not be beautiful anymore. I started wearing baggy clothes that Ronnie had given me. I showered less often because I could only take one when father was home. I started getting made fun of at school, but my brothers had lost their interest in me. I was safe. The only one my new look didn't scare off was Ronnie. We had both gotten older and started relating to each other differently. It was terribly wrong, I know, but I fell in love with him more than just a friend. He felt the same. We knew that it had to be kept a secret. It was so unfair. Why didn't anyone have a problem with the bullying that we were being subjected to? And our relationship. I had no idea how much trouble it would get us into. That day, we came home, unawares. Father was waiting for us in the kitchen and was very angry. I wasn't expecting him so early. Suddenly, Aiden and Brandon grabbed me by the arms. I tried to break free, and Ronnie tried to help me, but my father didn't let him. They had seen us and told him everything. I was panicking. Father said that he hadn't expected such behavior from me. He let me into his family, and I had destroyed it. And now I was being a bad influence on his kids. He accused me of seducing Ronnie. He was going to punish me. I was terrified. I screamed and begged them to let me out. I didn't know what would await me in the morning. I cried for hours and was exhausted. Suddenly, someone started opening the door. I hid in the corner of the room in fear. Was it really morning already? The door slowly opened. It was Ronnie! He told me that we needed to run. He had stolen Dad's car keys and his wallet. The plan was risky, but staying was even more dangerous. We had to get past our sleeping father. He had fallen asleep in a chair in the living room, as if he knew that the door needed to be watched. We had to crawl on the floor, and I accidentally bumped the table. I thought I was finished. The vase started to tip over, and I managed to catch it at the last second. I was sweating from anxiety. We managed to get out of the house unnoticed. Ronnie got behind the wheel, and we left. We didn't care where we were going, as long as it was away from our terrible home. We left Greenville and drove towards Pennsylvania until Ronnie got tired. We were afraid that we were being pursued. I couldn't take a shift behind the wheel because I didn't know how to drive. We decided to hide the car in the forest and spend the night there. We only had one blanket, and it was a cold night. We were trying to get warm and got very close. I felt Ronnie's warmth and it drew me in. At some point, he turned to me and kissed me. It was my first kiss. It was so wrong, but I was so happy. In the afternoon, we continued on our way. We still didn't have a plan, but we were free. We drove past another roadside cafe, and Ronnie's stomach started rumbling. I couldn't remember the last time we had eaten, so we decided to stop. I didn't know that that would turn out to be a huge mistake. I sat down at a table, and Ronnie went to place an order. We didn't have much money, but it should have been enough for breakfast. I watched him and was thinking about our new life when I heard the bell ring as the entrance door opened. I saw Ronnie's expression change, and he dropped his coffee cup. They had found us! Our father had reported the vehicle as stolen, and the police brought them right to us. I realized that no one was going to help us. To the cops, we were now just car thieves. I felt completely helpless. I burst into tears and did the only thing I could do. I started apologizing. For Mom leaving, for us running away. I was hoping it would help, but my father had already made up his mind. I didn't think that he could be so cruel to me. He told me that I no longer had a family. I was nobody to them, because I had betrayed them. They would take Ronnie home, and he would pay the price for helping me. I would have to live with knowing that it was all my fault. My heart was broken to pieces. I will never forget the look of doom on Ronnie's face. He was in the back seat and turned to look at me for the last time. I stood at the window in the cafe and couldn't do anything but watch as he was taken away. I had always thought that I wanted a family, but now I got what I had really wanted all along. Freedom. They let me go, but at what cost? I had lost Ronnie. I couldn't leave him in that hellhole, but what could I do? How can I save him? I have nowhere to go, no one to ask for help. I have no money left. I'm only 16. How can I save someone if I can't even take care of myself? I don't know what to do. Please, give me some advice.